Got the recording going. So just super fast review of what we did at first with A windows and T lists once again, just in case. The T lists are just the filters that if we configure and pop out, gives us this list of filters. You can scroll down through all of them. Each has a minimum and maximum value that determines what the scan will be looking for, whether it's a price range or anything like that. And then again with the A windows, same thing. With the filters, only there's also an event to add to it, a whole list of different events that we can run through here, check it, and then, some of the events we can put a value in. They doesn't have to be a value, but, for example, like on a new high, if you were to add a value of 365, that means you're looking for a 52-week high as 365 days and 52 weeks. So that kind of idea there. And then again, the filters, same idea. So one needs the A window needs both sets of events to trigger for stock, and the T windows just need the filters to be met and cycles back every 30 seconds. Um, and then I was going to go back a little bit into the AI with us again today. So if you want to follow along in that way, we go to AI and the trades window, and we can open all strategies, and we pull her up again. And then just to kind of review what some of the exits here mean. So anytime we see any of these exit reasons here on this side, that's her conservative reasons that she exited. The two main modes to really be concerned with are conservative and moderate. They were previously known as risk on and risk off. The conservative means that she's just going to obey whatever her rule set is. So, for example, profit save is what we would refer to as what's called a trailing stop. So let's say that she's up in a trade and the trade starts to reverse. She has an algorithm that's going to say, well, I'm not going to let a winner turn into a loser, so I'm going to exit it. On the flip side, we have the reduced risk, which says this trade isn't working. It's already a loser and it's not doing what I thought it would do, so I'm not going to hang around for the stop. I'm going to make an exit early. And then the other two big ones that we see here are the stop hit and the target hit. And that just means that, whatever the stop loss that was set on that was hit, triggered, we're out. And on the flip side, moving to the upside, whatever the target was, the target price, that was hit, and that got us out too. And those are all conservative reasons for exit. In the moderate mode, she only has two reasons for exit. It's either going to be a hold till the end of the day, no matter what, there is no target or anything else, or it's a stop. And those are the only two that get you out on those. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. There's a third mode that we can display, although I don't know if it's here in this or not. Aggressive. All right, so in the columns when I open it up, so just in case to review, if we right click here, we have the columns, and that's all this information that's displayed here. So this is just what it happens to have displayed. Here is everything that's available on the right once again, and what's selected on the left. And just by clicking and moving left to right or right to left, vice versa, that'll display or take away the different columns. There's one other mode that we can look at, but no, it's not usable. You can't automate it. You can't trade it in any way other than if you were manually trading yourself, and that's aggressive. And all that means is that there's no stop or anything. It's just buy whatever she alerted and hold it to the end of the day. So I know that in the meeting yesterday we were talking about having that removed when Dan was talking about trying to clean up the AI a little bit to make it look a little neater and a little cleaner. So I mean, it's not really something I think you guys have to be concerned with, other than, I mean, it exists just in case, and it is very not advisable to ever trade like that. You might as well just go to the casino for that case. So I'll stop on the AI for a second if someone has a question.
I don't think I have a question.
Alrighty. So the other window that's important for the AI is, so this is going to show what the actual trades were that she made today. So here you have your symbols. This is your last price, the entry price, the exit price. No open profits because everything's now closed. You have the max profits, meaning how much she was up in the conservative mode on the day. That's what the max profit is. It's only measuring what she was up at the max point in conservative. And then you have your moderate profit. That's dollars. This is a moderate profit in percent. Your profit change in the last 5 minutes, up or down. And then you have your conservative ones here, dollar amounts there, and the percent amount is there. The next thing is you have all these different strategies here. So these are the strategies that actually fired, but not necessarily all the strategies that she came to the table with today. So if we come back to new, we open that window with the AI trades window. Here's the strategy window. When we click that, that's going to tell us here every strategy that she actually came with today. So you get an expansion here on it so we can see it a little better. So she came with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shorts today, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 longs today. So that's how many strategies she came with today. But you can see this group here in the middle didn't fire any strategies here today. All zeros across the board. 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1. So she was kind of evenly spread on what she did fire. And there's also a good spread between shorts and longs on what she fired today too, which kind of goes with what we saw in the market today. Some up, some down, some choppiness. So I don't know if it's a question you'll ever get, but if you're wondering, in her filter sets and alert sets and all those things like that, I don't. It changes daily. I don't think anybody really knows what they are. Maybe Dave Mabe or somebody like that can go in there and tell you what the values are because it changes daily on its own through a mechanism. But there's a SPY filter in there. So the SPY meaning the S&P 500. So a lot of these strategies are triggered based on movement in the SPY. So that's why you will see a lot of these strategies at times really affected what the market's doing. Not always, but it does affect it. And you can see here in this is the back test. So when we talk about statistical probability for the AI, each one of these here, when it was back tested last night on these strategies, this is the reason why they made the cut today. You're seeing what percent they would have back tested yesterday for win rates in any ticker that came through. So it used to be, I think, 60% for it to come through, but I think Michael changed that recently because I'm seeing stuff under 60% on these two down here. So that's what it back tested yesterday, and this is what the actual win rates were today. So you have, 0, 0, 100, 150. So more or less that's what it is. There are, I believe, 50 something total strategies for Holly. So, she came today with, a fair amount armed. So it also comes to, you get the question like, well, how much money do I need to be able to auto trade Holly? There's no real answer for it. I mean, you start with the pattern day trader rule of $25,000, but if she comes with 5 strategies on the day and only 3 fire, you don't need that much money. She comes with 15 strategies on the day and every one of them fire, you're going to need a lot of money. So that's why some of the questions are, whether we get them or you get them, they're really subjective. That there isn't a real straightforward answer to give people. The other thing that comes in is, if she picks stocks that are all $15, it's going to be less money than if she's picked stocks that are all $20, for example, or $30. So, these are all the different questions that I know probably you see too, and why there's no real short answer to them, that it's kind of subjective in those answers. So, again, I'll pause if we have questions on whether it's the strategies or the back test or anything like that for Holly.
Can you, did you show the back testing? Sorry, I was kind of distracted. Did you already show that?
No, no. So there's no back test that we can actually show for it. It happens in her own world or simulator that I don't know if it's Mike, Dave Mabe or Michael Franz or one of those guys run. What we see here is just the back test, the percentage that it back tested yesterday in this column here. It tells us which each
Okay,
one of those
gotcha.
ones did. So, and then the other thing is the original, every one of these, whether it's pullback short or breakdown short or bond shorty 2.0, the original strategies that were put into Holly when she was created, or when those strategies were created and put into her, those original strategies don't exist anymore. Whatever those original filter sets and alert sets were put in there, Holly changes them every single day in her optimization of the back testing. There's a whole, system that users can actually use themselves, but there's no human being that can crunch the numbers that the way she does. It's all computers and algorithms and things like that. So that's what makes it, aside from the fact that we're not giving up the proprietary information of how those filters are actually set. Whatever, for example, Bond Shorty is a Michael Noss strategy. Whatever Michael Noss created it as originally, it's not the same strategy. It's changed by Holly herself. So Michael could give someone the original strategy, but it's not going to be whatever Holly back tested it to be and optimized it yesterday. It won't be the same thing. So just in case anybody's like, well, why can't I know? It's because nobody knows. Only the computer knows. Only Holly knows. So I think that's a lot of the important stuff now as far as the AI goes. And I'll just review again the fact that it's 3 segments. And those segments, once again, on the right click, we can see here, we're on all. There's Holy Grail, 2.0, and Neo. And each one just has to do with one being more aggressive, essentially, and the risks that they're taking. So different volume filters, especially Holly Neo, she's looking at stocks that are moving the fastest. And that's why if I know that there's the channels here and people want to gravitate to them because they see that. I think it's personally better, especially if someone asks you, well, how do I load the AI? It's just best to go to new and open it from strategy trades window and all strategies, and it's going to give them everything there instead of trying to filter which channel's better. You can look at them all in one shot with that. So if that's if there's no other questions or anything else you want me to go over specifically with Holly, I was actually going to move into what the back tester looks like a little bit and go down that road a little bit.
Yeah, I want to see that because we have a lot of people that use that.
Yeah. So, all right, we'll close out Holly for now. And so essentially with the back tester, you can only do it with A windows, with alert windows. And you start with the back tester and it's a right click and then back test. In here, you're going to have all the different tabs. I don't know if I can expand this. Nope, I can't. So you have your entry tab, meaning what time you want the strategy to start, what time you want it to end, meaning what hours is it going to actually initiate trades, basically. So that's your first tab. Then you have your exit tab. So you can either do it minutes after the entry, meaning after you got me in the stock, take me out in 30 minutes, or take me out at the very end of the day. Or you can set it by time of day specifically, or you can take one step further when we're talking about swing trading and things like that. You could set it for market open or market close and set it all the way up to 62 days because that's what our data goes back. So that's how that would work on the exiting. And then the risk management starts to get a little more complicated here, but essentially you have dollars or percent, and then you can enable the profit targets, put in the values. We have dollars clicked. Now we see clicked switch to percent. Same concept with the stop loss. The advanced tab is going to give us things like trailing stops and things like that. Essentially what a trailing stop is, let's say that I enter a position and it starts to move up. And I entered at $1 and now it's at $2. And I set the trailing stop, meaning that the stop moves up with the price of the with the stock, so that all of a sudden I'm at $2 and it starts to pull back. Well, if it pulls back, for example, 1% trailing stop, it's going to stop back out at $1.99, meaning that that stop was following it all the way up, so that if there's a pullback, it protects my profits. And that trailing stop, there's different ways to set it between the percent or the bars, and the bars just meaning these here. So if these, instead of measuring it by percent of the price, you're just measuring it by the movement of the bars here. And then in the summary, this is going to tell us exactly what the back test is looking for. So right now we just have it happen from me playing with it at 10:38 in the morning. It'll initiate trades till 3:13 my time. We're looking at 62 days back. Stop loss 1%, target 1%. There's no advanced exit, and we're looking at a 30-day test. And then it's a simulate buy or sell. So this is a long window, and I don't actually know if it's going to work because it's a stock twits window, actually, I do believe, which we learned today we don't have stock twits anymore. So for fun, we'll hit buy and see what happens. And it looks like nothing. Won't run. So all right, we'll click another channel and try that for fun. So let's see. Got all these short things going on here today. I was going to look for the short float channel since that's all the craze. Squeeze me. There we go. So let's see what Squeeze Me would be doing in the back test. So we'll initiate the trades between 10 o'clock and let's call it 3:15ish for fun. We'll put a 30-minute hold time. We'll put no risk. We'll just hold the trade no matter what. And just for fun, because of the craziness of the last few days, we'll just do the last few days here, since the short squeeze is on for all these stocks. So there we're looking at 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock is when trades will initiate. We're out after 30 minutes. We're just testing the last 4 days, and the last 4 days doesn't include today. It's yesterday and 3 days back is the way that works. The back tester doesn't have the data from today yet. It won't go in till after midnight, and users have to close trade ideas after midnight. Otherwise, their side of the server won't reset, and their data won't be coming in correctly. It won't come in for Brokerage Plus right, Holly right, or the back tester right. All three of those will not work if they leave trade ideas running 24 hours. So once again, we're going to simulate the buy, and it's going to give us an equity curve. And then at the end, it'll give us a summary of all kinds of different things here. And this will tell us what it would have done if we bought all these stocks at those times and held them through the end of the day, the last 4 days, basically. While that's loading, is there any questions so far on the back tester?
Not for me.
Oh, I have a question. So are we able to backtest on any channel, or is it only limited to certain ones?
You can back test on any channel, it just has to be an alert window. That's all. Topless won't, there's no event to trigger the time stamped alert or quote unquote buy in this case on the top list. So that's why you need the event of the alert windows for that.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. We're almost there. 98, 99. This is one of those things that the more stuff you're running on your computer also, the slower it's going to go. So, all right. So that tested actually really, really well. I mean, of course, we have the action that's going on in the market right now, but as a lot of people say, play what's in front of you, not what you want. So we can see on this equity curve here in the last couple of days, look at that huge spike, and that I'm sure has to do with these Reddit kids and or guys, girls, whatever, and whatnot. And then it gives us a lot of information. So the profit factor meaning is 2, meaning that that's what you're winning. It took 288 trades, 54.5%, which were winners. The average winner on this, if taking 100 shares on each trade, it was $149. Average loser is 89 and change. You can see the strategy's return is 17.7% over these 4 days, and its projected returns over 1,000%. I mean, it's kind of, hard to tell that something will do 1,000% basing it on 4 days. But the other things that it tells us here is that was if we had starting equity of $50,000. So that's where you see that number come in here, and that's what it did. Made it almost up to 65,000 in those. Again, that's the share size. So it's taking 100 shares of each stock that it bought. It's using a $4.95 commission, which I don't think anybody really charges anymore. And then this number here is what I would call slippage. So when you hear about spreads and things like that, you have the bid and the ask. And the way the bid and the ask works is I can bring in, hold on, my Thinkorswim here and show you. On this here, this is the bid, that's the ask. When you buy and sell a stock, every time you buy it, that's the number you're going to buy. Excuse me, that's the number you're going to buy. That's the number you're going to sell. That's how it works no matter what. So there are times where these numbers might have 10 cents difference between each other, and that's where what we call slippage, where if you went in and you press this button up here, market buy, you don't know where in that 10 cents you're going to fall. Where if you put in a limit order, you may or may not get filled in between that order depending on where you put that limit order. So that's where we call slippage, and that's where this number comes in here, that commission shares number. It should probably be changed to slippage, but that's a way to say, well, what if I wasn't getting the fill at that exact number? Let's put a number in there for fun that's saying, what if, I'm 2 or 3 cents off whatever the alert was essentially on getting the fill. And that's where that comes in, and that's why you see two different equity curves here. So all these numbers are adjustable. We can adjust the commissions to 0, and then we can see what that did to the equity curve. And then there's other tabs up here as far as optimization go. You have this is what it would have done over these days. So we can see here on the 25th, look at that spike on that day. That's the big day. That's the big winner day for it. These days were also winners, but very small winners. So it's just showing you a breakdown of what the actual days are in it. And then in the calendar here, you can open the calendar and you can actually see what the trades were, the exits. You can see that they're long or short, so all longs. Here's your shares bought. This is the profit, win or lose on each one. Time-stamped entry, time-stamped exit, and the symbols. So it really breaks it down for you. And these are rabbit holes that, I go down a lot, Michael Noss goes down a lot. And essentially, this is how Holly works. And it's not a person doing this, though. It's actually the computer doing it itself. There's a whole lot of other rabbit holes to go down here. So when we talk about optimizing filters and things, in this optimization tab, you can take basically any filter that we have and go in there and take those filters and go through each one and see how they would have worked with different filter values in them. So that's where you start to see and be able to cut the fat from trades, if you will. So for example, we could go back into this alert and say, well, anything with 1 minute RSI that was in between 30 and 39 had a really bad return. So if we cut that out, that would make our optimization much more efficient. We could even take it a step further and cut it from here. Say, don't show me anything lower than 60 actually. And while we'd lose the winning here, we'd lose this losing here. Does this make sense? Am I making sense with what I'm talking about for the optimization?
Yeah.
So these are, when anybody's talking about, how can I backtest my strategies or how can I make my strategies efficient? These are the tabs that we're talking about, and all of this is only available in the premium. You can't do that. Well, I think standard gets like 10 courtesy back tests or whatever to try to entice someone to go to premium. But this is essentially how the AI works. This is and how hear anybody auto trading their own strategies. This is what they're doing. They're going in and spending hours going through, and every filter that we see when we're right click any kind of strategy, whether it's the T lists or the A windows. Every one of those filters is listed in here actually. And if someone were to create their own custom filters, they would be listed in here as well, so that they can go through every one of these filters and take a look and optimize it to their trading needs, their trading strategies. So that's the short and skinny of the optimizer. And then in here, once again, we could look at the different symbols. We can optimize by time of day here, and we can change the interval. So it's at a 60-minute interval. We can make it a 5-minute interval. So we can really break it down on, at what time was this strategy firing, how many trades, how well each of those trades did in those times. And of course we can go back and say, oh, what were the settings of this again? And it gives us our summary once again, what we actually did here. So those are some of the ins and outs with the optimizer.
If somebody asks, how do I optimize this? That's a pretty general question though, right? All you could do is kind of tell them how to utilize it, not.
Yeah, it starts to come down to, what kind of trader are they? What filters are they using? So, for example, someone, like me, I get a lot of questions for ATR, average true range. People seem to like that filter. I've never used it. I know what it means, but, I would just tell them in the optimization, look for that filter and then break it down to the smallest intervals possible and start from there. So, once again, we go to other and we would look for something like that. So there we go, average true range. and then I would tell them, I would tell them, break it down by, let's say, 50 cents, and give them
Mm-hmm.
that like that. So, that's one of the things that it comes to. Especially on our side of things, I'm the only person that really uses TD or Thinkorswim. So if these other guys, we don't work for TD or IB or Fidelity or anything like that. So I know it's hard when they start coming in and asking broker questions that we just simply don't have answers to. You know what I mean? So the same
Yeah.
kind of concept that comes in with a lot of these filters, especially for me, because Steve or Andy or Sean or any of those guys, they've been trading for 25 years, all of them. So they've seen a lot more than I have, where I've been trading for 3.5 years. So there's a lot that I don't know, and like anything else, you fake it till you make it, more or less. None of it's. If you Google any of these things, or once again, it comes, we have the help button that we can hit, that we've gone over, and it's going to give you a short synopsis there, and none of it's overly complicated as far as a direct explanation goes. So it's not, you don't even have to fake much, but once again, there's so much inside this program that knowing all of it is near impossible, I believe. So
Yeah. Gotcha.
what else on the back tester? Is there anything else important? Anything else you want me to go back over? Or any other questions on it?
No, I don't think so from me.
All right. And then, I mean, one of the other things we do as a courtesy on occasion is, if someone comes in the chat and they're not sure if, or even one of the scout emails, they're not sure if they like the optimizer, or they want to make the purchase. We have, we can put, I don't know, 30 or 40 or 50 more tries in there for the back tester, for them to give it another shot. So I've done it a few times. I just make a note so nobody tries to play against us. Like, oh, can I have some free ones? Well, you already got some free ones. So I'll close that out and close all these out. And then I figure for the last thing that we'll do here, I know that we're running up against the clock here, and I assume everybody's got places to go for 5 o'clock. But if we wanted, let's just build a window together real quick. Just do it as a quick exercise, and we'll save it to the cloud with whatever we saved last week too. So if we go to new, let's go to alerts, and we'll keep it real simple. We'll right click and configure, and we've got a new high alert, and we'll just go through. Let's get rid of all the values up top here real quick, and then, all right, everybody come up with a filter. Name something that you hear, something that you get a lot or a little, whatever. There must be a filter you guys have heard at some point, no?
The only one I've been hearing is this: they want the same strategy thing as E-Trade. I haven't heard any specific filter.
All right, we'll do this then. So we'll go with some of the popular stuff that's like momentum. So one of the big ones everybody likes is relative volume. And relative volume essentially is going to take an average of the volume at that given point in the day over 30 days. And it's broken down into these different segments and all that. It only works in regular market hours, but let's put a value of 2 in there. So we know that we're doing 2 times the amount of the normal volume that a stock would be doing at that given point in any day, in between the hours of 9, well, market hours. So, for you guys on the West Coast, 6:30 a.m. to, I guess, what is it, 2:30 in the afternoon? The market closes? 3, 1:30? I can't remember
What,
anymore.
one? I think
1:30.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, 1, not 1:30, sorry. And then a lot of people want to see something that has moved from the close of yesterday. So this change from close is, it's calculating what the difference in price is percent wise from when the stock closed at 1 p.m. the day before to when the stock opened the next day. So we'll just put, for fun in there, we'll put a 2. So we want to see stocks that are up 2%. Let's see, what's something else that's popular? All right, a filter that I happen to like to make sure that something's been what we call liquid over the last few days. We know people are trading it, so let's put an average daily volume that says 350,000. So that means over the last 5 days, that's what we've been averaging for volume. Let's give it a price range. We'll scroll back up in price range. So let's look at stocks that are between $5. So that's our minimum. And we'll use the maximum column for the first time and $50. So it's only going to show us stocks between those two prices. And let's see, something else we can throw in there for fun. Let's say we want to see something that's in an uptrend. So let's take the 5-minute candles, and let's say that we want to see 3 5-minute candles in a row that are up. And is there anything else for fun we'll put in here? Just scroll down.
Chris, I have a question.
Yeah.
If someone asks to see the biggest gainers of the day, how would they do that?
I would
Is
ask
that
them in
something
two
different?
ways. Are they looking for the biggest gainers, as in change from close or change from open, would be the first question. And then those are the two filters I would point them towards: change from close percent or change from open percent. And then they
Okay.
can put a value in there from that. So, all right, we'll keep it at that for now. So, all right, we've got all those checked there. Make sure we have our exchanges checked. So those are the major exchanges. Symbols list, we're not filtering on any symbols lists. Columns don't really matter that much in this right now. It's an alert window. And if we come to the summary, we can see we're looking for stocks making a new high on the day. Stocks where the price is between $5 and $50. 5-day volume is this 350,000 over the last 5 days averaging. This is our relative volume, meaning we're trading at least 2 times the amount we normally do. We're going to have 5-minute candles in a row up, and it was up at least 2% from the close. Now, if this is too specific, it's not going to return us anything. It'll be a blank screen. So we're going to press OK and see what we get. And that would have been the last alert that came through. So that's what we see there. And so we can see that it made this alert here at the close because we had these 3 candles in a row up. See, new single stock window. We'll bring that over. And we're going to put NTN in it. Oops. And we can see that the relative volume was 5 and it traded over 3 million shares, so it met all those filters. And we could just do one more thing, and if we wanted to look at the history, we could look at the history today, and it's going to tell us every single thing that came through on here, and we can see we got a lot of alerts from this window here. And when we see more available, that just means we'd have to run it in a time frame here because it can only load so many alerts at once. So we can right click it for fun. Let's save share to the cloud, and we can call it 3 candle window. And save. And that's it. Now it's in our cloud we can mess around with it on the next one. So sorry, I know I ran a couple minutes over on you. Is there anything else last minute before we cut out of here? Or, I mean, I can stay on. I don't care. Whatever you guys want.
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, that was good. Thank you.
Yeah. And then just the last thing on that for the biggest gainers. So, yeah, just on the pop out here, configure. If we look at those filters, this change from close, that's going to be something that's going to show you your biggest winners essentially. And you could use those filters, or what you could do is on the top list, what you'd want to do is if we go to right click on the top list and we go to configure, you're going to see this sort here. And if we sort on change from close, so this change from close, so we search for it here, change from close. If we pick that to sort from, Now that's what it's going to look at, the biggest change from close, and that's going to change how that window looks right here. And so now you can see, look at that, 480%, 301%, and that's now showing me the biggest winners through this particular scan. They can adjust other filters from there if they want. So just as a quick one, because I know that's probably something you get a lot on that, was showing me with the biggest winners.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So, all right, I guess we'll call it an afternoon, and hope that was all right for you guys.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
Excellent. All right.
Great.
Well, you're welcome, ladies, and we will catch you in Scout.
Okay.
See you later. Have a good afternoon. Bye bye.